The biggest risk to a well-stocked household usually is not the disaster. It is being the obvious house on the street. And there is a strange split in how two different groups of people think about that. Preppers, generally, think about security as an event. The night it happens, the door, the moment. The people who have spent a career actually looking at how houses get entered think about it almost entirely as a set of daily habits, most of which cost nothing and almost none of which involve the moment at all. That gap is what this video is about. Because published crime prevention research is not a secret and it is not hard to find, it is just deadly boring, so almost nobody reads it. And what it says is that most of what protects a house happens in the ordinary daylight hours, long before anything goes wrong. After decades studying how households stay safe in hard times, discretion and routine have done more than any lock or gadget I have ever seen anyone buy. So here are 7 habits drawn from that published guidance that you can change tonight, most of them for nothing, that change how your house reads from the sidewalk. Quick note first, I am Cole Merritt, and this is general preparedness education, not professional legal or security advice, and not a prediction about anything. And I want to be plain about one thing before we go a word further, because it is the whole foundation of this video. I am not a police officer. I never have been. I have never carried a badge in my life. What I am bringing you is what the published research and the crime prevention guidance say, and I am going to tell you exactly where each piece comes from as we go, so you can check me. That is the deal on this channel. There will be nothing in here about weapons and nothing about confronting anybody, because that is not this channel's lane, and it is not good advice anyway. For your own situation, your local police department almost certainly offers a free home security assessment, and I will come back to that at the end because it is the single best thing in this entire video, and it costs nothing. And one more thing up front, if you watch the video I did on the signs that make a house get picked first, this is the other half of it. That one was diagnosis. This is treatment. There will be a card for it, and I am deliberately not going to repeat it here. Let me give you the mechanism first, because it makes all 7 items make sense at once. A house is not chosen because of what is in it. Nobody knows what is in it. A house is chosen because of what it signals from the street in about 8 to 10 seconds of looking. Signals of occupancy, signals of attention, signals of risk to the person looking. The best documented piece of research on this that I know of is out of the University of North Carolina at Charlotte, where a team surveyed 422 incarcerated burglars in 3 states about how they actually chose. What came back was not exotic. They weighed the closeness of other people, whether there were escape routes and visible signs of security. Around 60% said an alarm being present would send them to a different house entirely, and something like 83% said they would try to work out whether there was an alarm before doing anything. Read that second number again, because it is the more useful of the two. It means the decision is made during a period of looking, which means everything you do that changes what there is to look at works. And this idea is older than that study. In 1972, an architect named Oscar Newman published a book called Defensible Space after studying public housing projects in New York that had wildly different crime rates despite holding similar population. What he found was that the layouts where residents could see and were clearly seen to watch, and where the space plainly belonged to somebody, behaved completely differently from the layouts where the space belonged to nobody in particular. It reshaped how police departments think about prevention, and it is the origin of the whole approach that gets taught today under the name crime prevention through environmental design. The lesson, in one line, is the through line of everything that follows. How a place looks decides how it gets treated. You are not building a fortress. You are managing an impression. All right? 7 habits. 1, they vary the pattern. What it is. They do not let the house run on an identical schedule that anybody watching for 2 days could set a clock by. Same lights on at the same minute, same car out at the same minute, same blinds up and down on the same cycle every single day. Why? It works. A house is easiest to enter when someone is confident it is empty, and confidence comes from a pattern. Rigid regularity is what lets someone be confident. And here is the piece almost nobody thinks about. The modern timer switch made this worse, not better, because a timer is more regular than a human being. A house where a single lamp clicks on at 7 every evening and off at 11 every night, to the minute, including the 4 days a week the family is home, reads as automated, and automated reads as absent. The method. Concretely, use timers, but use ones with a randomize or vary function, which most modern smart plugs and many mechanical timers have, and set them to shift the on and off times by 15 to 30 minutes. Put lights on in 2 different rooms on different schedules, because a house where one lamp is on and nothing else ever changes reads exactly like what it is. Add a radio on a timer for the evening, which is worth more than another light, because sound reads as people. And vary a couple of physical things that a timer cannot do. Which door you use, when the trash goes out, whether the blinds are half open or fully open. Total cost, somewhere in the range of $10 to $25 for a couple of timers, and if you already have them, it is free. The failure mode, doing this only when you go on vacation. The pattern you are protecting is the everyday one, and if the house is rigid for 50 weeks and then suddenly artificial for 2, you have advertised the 2. The habit has to be the baseline. 2, they look at their own house from the street, what it is, standing on the sidewalk or at the end of the driveway at 2 in the afternoon and again at 9 at night, and looking at their own home the way a stranger would. Why it works. You have not seen your own house in years. Nobody has. You see a route from the car to the door. A person looking at it sees a shape, some sight lines, some cover, and whatever happens to be lit up in the windows. Those are completely different views, and only one of them matters here. The method, and this is the free one that beats every purchase in this video. Walk out and turn around. Note 4 things. What can you see inside through each window at night with the lights on from the sidewalk? That is the big one, because a lit room at night is a display case, and people forget the glass works one way after dark. Second, where could a person stand and not be seen from the street or from a neighbor's window? That is usually an overgrown shrub against the house, a fence gate, a recessed side door, and it is the reason crime prevention guidance keeps telling people to cut shrubs down below window height and limb trees up. Third, what is lying in the yard that helps? A ladder, a wheelbarrow, a stack of blocks, an unlocked shed. Fourth, does this house look attended to? Mail sitting, packages stacked, a lawn a week past due, a flyer left on the door for 3 days. That last one is the single loudest signal a house sends, and it is entirely free to fix. The failure mode, doing the walk once and calling it done. Shrubs grow, seasons change what is visible. Do it twice a year, spring and fall, and do the night version at night, because half the sightlines only exist after dark. 3, they think about what the curb says, what it is, being deliberate about what the trash, the recycling, and the delivery boxes tell the street about what is inside. Why it works. There is exactly one moment each week when a household publishes a detailed list of its recent purchases to anyone who walks by, and that is trash day. A flattened box for a television, a laptop, a safe, a large appliance, a firearm safe, sitting at the curb with the brand printed across it, is an advertisement with your address on it. The same goes for a stack of delivery boxes sitting on a porch all day, which additionally says nobody has been home since morning. The method, break boxes down and turn them printed side in, or cut them up so the branding is not readable. And if it is a big ticket item, put that box out on a later week, or take it to a drop-off. Do not set boxes out the night before if you can help it. And for deliveries, the fixes are all boring and all effective. Have packages held at the carrier's location or a locker. Have them delivered to your workplace if that is possible. Ask a neighbor who is home to bring yours in, or simply set delivery for a day. You know somebody is there. Cost, 0. The failure mode. Focusing on the box and ignoring the porch. A porch that regularly holds packages for 8 hours tells a much longer story than one box does. It says exactly what hours this house is empty. Every week, for free. 4, they know where a door actually fails, what it is. Understanding that on a typical exterior door, the deadbolt is rarely what gives. The door frame is. Why it works, and here's the mechanic. A deadbolt is a hardened steel bar. The strike plate is the little metal rectangle screwed into the frame that it goes into. On a great many houses, that strike plate is held by 2 screws, about 3/4 of an inch long, which reach only into the thin door jamb and not into the structural stud behind it. So the bolt does not break and the door does not break. The jamb splits, and it splits with far less force than most people would guess. The method, and this is a 15-minute job. Take the 2 short screws out of your strike plate and out of your door hinges and replace them with 3-inch screws that reach through the jamb and into the framing. A box of them costs a few dollars at any hardware store. That single change is dollar for dollar one of the best regarded upgrades in every piece of prevention literature I have read. Add a reinforced strike plate for another $10 to $20 if you want to go further. I did a whole video on physical hardening on a $100 budget, and I am not going to rerun all of it here. This item is on the list because it is the one that the people who look at broken doors for a living bring up first, and because almost nobody has done it. The failure mode, and this is the safety line, so hear it plainly. Do not secure yourself in. Anything that makes a door or a window harder to open from outside must not make it harder to get out from inside in a fire. And that goes double for bedroom windows, which in most codes are your legally required second way out. Bars without a quick release, a window nailed shut, a keyed deadbolt with the key kept somewhere else. Those have killed people. Fire is a vastly more likely emergency than a break-in, and the fire safety guidance on egress wins every time there is a conflict. Every time. 5. They understand the difference between signals and theater. What it is. Knowing which visible deterrents genuinely change a decision and which ones just make the owner feel bad. Why it works. Go back to that Charlotte study for a second. The finding was not that alarms are magic. It was that most of them tried to determine whether one was there, and a majority would move on if they believed one was. That is a finding about belief and about visible evidence, and it tells you where your money goes. The method. Real signals, roughly in order, a visible camera at the door that plainly works, and a doorbell camera counts. Actual alarm signage and window stickers from a real system. A dog inside, and a sign is not a dog, but a dog that can be heard, is a genuine deterrent in the research. Lighting that comes on with motion at the dark sides of the house, which is a $20 to $40 fixture. And the best one of all, which is free, windows and doors that are actually locked, because a meaningful share of residential entries involve an unlocked door or window, and no gadget on earth compensates for that. And now the honest half, because this is where people waste money. A fake camera is theater and a poor one. They are recognizable. And a fake camera with no wire and a blinking red light that a real camera would not have tells an experienced eye that this household buys the appearance of security and not the thing. A yard sign for a company you do not have service with is a bluff that costs you credibility if it is called. A very loud siren with nobody monitoring it is close to worthless in a neighborhood where nobody responds to alarms anymore. And a gun safe advertised by its packaging on the curb, which we already covered, is worse than nothing. Spend the money on the door frame, the lights, the lock habit, and one real camera. Skip the rest. The failure mode here is the opposite of what you would expect. It is over-signaling. A house that has become visibly fortified. Bars, floodlights, blazing, several cameras, hard signage, in an ordinary neighborhood where nothing else looks like that, does not read as impregnable. It reads as containing something worth all that trouble. The goal is the most boring house on the street, not the most defended one. 6, they are careful about the car in the driveway, what it is, treating the vehicle as part of the house because in practice it is. Why it works. The car sitting in the driveway is a public object with a private key in it. The garage door remote clipped to the visor opens your house. The registration and insurance card in the glove box has your home address printed on it right next to that remote. And an unlocked car is one of the most common entries there is because it requires nothing at all. The method. Take the garage remote off the visor and either carry it or use a keychain remote or your phone. Keep the registration in your wallet rather than the glove box where possible. Or at minimum, understand that the two together are a matched set and separate them. Lock the car every night in your own driveway, including the one in the garage. Leave nothing visible on the seats, and that includes a bag that is empty, because nobody can tell it is empty from outside. And on where it sits. A car in the driveway is an occupancy signal. So if a household has 2 and 1 always goes, leaving 1 visible has value. The failure mode. Assuming the garage is a secure room. In a great many houses, the door from the garage into the house is a hollow interior grade door with a knob lock and no deadbolt, which means the garage is the softest way in and everybody's ladder lives right there. If you fix one door in your house, that is arguably the one. 7, and here's the one I promised you would not like. They know their neighbors. What it is: actual working relationships with the 3 or 4 households whose windows look at yours. Why it works, and I want to give you the mechanism rather than the sentiment, because a lot of the people watching this channel value their privacy and did not come here to be told to go be sociable. Go back to Newman's finding from 1972. The spaces that stayed safe were the ones that plainly belonged to someone who was watching. A stranger in a driveway is invisible unless somebody knows he is a stranger. That knowledge is not sentimental, it is functional. A neighbor who knows your car, knows your schedule roughly, and knows you did not order a truck today is a detection system that no camera matches, because it comes with judgment attached. And it runs both ways, which is why the same neighbor brings your packages in, notices the mail piling up, and is the person who calls you rather than nobody at all. The method, and I will keep it small because I know the audience. You do not have to join anything or host anything. Learn the names of the households on either side of you and the 2 directly across. Exchange phone numbers with at least 2 of them on the stated basis of an emergency, which is an easy and unembarrassing reason to ask. Tell them when you will be gone more than 2 days and ask them to grab the mail. That is the whole assignment. 4 names and 2 numbers. The failure mode is oversharing, and this is where the discretion side of this channel comes in hard. Knowing your neighbors does not mean touring anybody through your basement. Nobody needs to know what you have stored, how much of it, or where. The formula that works is simple. Be known as a person. Be private about your supplies. Those 2 are not in conflict. And the households that get that balance right are, in every account I have looked at, the ones that come through a bad stretch best. There is a woman I will call Dottie, a block captain in a Phoenix suburb, who put this better than I can. She said her whole job amounted to one thing, which was making sure that on her street, a stranger could not be anonymous for more than about 5 minutes. Not confronted, not challenged, just noticed. She said the moment somebody knows they have been seen, they leave, and almost nothing else has to happen. And then she said the part I keep coming back to. She said the people who moved in and put up a fence and never spoke to anybody thought they were being safe. And what they had actually done was make themselves the one house on the block that nobody would recognize a stranger at. Now let me give you 2 hard limits, and then the best free thing in this video. First limit: nothing in here is about confronting anybody, and I want to be as clear as I know how. If you believe someone is inside your home, the guidance from essentially every police department in this country is the same. You get out, you get everyone out, and you call from somewhere else. You do not clear your own house. That is a job that trained people with radios and backup do badly and with injuries, and property is replaceable. This channel does not do tactics, it does avoidance, and avoidance is not the cowardly option, it is the one with the evidence behind it. Second limit, and this is the honesty beat I owe you, none of these 7 makes a house impossible to enter, not one. What they do is move you down the list, and moving down the list is the entire game. Because the decision that matters was made from the sidewalk in 8 seconds between your house and somebody else's. I am not selling you invulnerability. I am selling you being the less appealing option on a street of options, which is unglamorous and which works. And here is the free thing, which I think is genuinely the best action item on this list. A great many police departments in this country will send an officer to walk your property with you and do a home security assessment at no charge and tell you exactly what they see. Not a sales call, not a system. A trained set of eyes doing item number 2 on this list for you better than you can do it yourself. Call the non-emergency number of your local department and ask whether they offer a residential security survey or a crime prevention assessment. In a lot of places they do, and almost nobody asks. That is the phone call I would make this week. And let me put the 7 in the order. I would actually do them by what they cost, because a list is not a plan until it has an order. Tonight, for nothing at all. Walk to the end of your driveway and look back, lock the car, and take the garage remote off the visor. Tomorrow, for nothing. Turn the boxes printed side in and go learn 2 names you do not know. This weekend, for about $5, a box of 3-inch screws in the strike plate and the hinges, and cut the shrubbery below the window line while you are out there. Next payday, for $20 to $40. A motion light on the darkest side of the house and a timer or 2 that randomizes. After that, if you want it, 1 real camera at the door. That is the whole ladder, and the top 4 rungs are free. Anybody telling you that home security starts at $1,000 is selling something. One more thing on being away, because it is where all 7 of these get tested at once. The trip is not the risk. The visible break in the pattern is the risk. So the version that works is boring. Mail and papers held or collected by a neighbor, the timer's already running the way they run every week, 1 car left in the driveway if you have 2, and nobody outside the household told the dates in advance, which includes not posting them until you are home. That last one is the modern version of the oldest rule there is, and it is the one people break constantly without thinking about it. So here is the whole list, and notice how little of it costs anything. Vary the pattern. Look at your own house from the street, day and night. Watch what the curb publishes. Put 3-inch screws in your strike plate and hinges, and never at the cost of your way out in a fire. Buy real signals, skip the theater, and do not over-fortify. Treat the car as part of the house and get the remote off the visor, and learn 4 names and 2 phone numbers. Now I want to hear from you, and be specific if you can. Which of these do you already do, and which one are you actually going to do this week? Say it out loud in the comments, because there is something about writing it down that makes people follow through, and I have watched it happen in these comments for a year. And the folks who write in here include a lot of people who have worked in and around this world, and every time I cover this subject, somebody adds a detail I did not have. If I have gotten something wrong here, or if the guidance where you live is different, say so plainly. I read them, and I will pin a good correction. This was educational, not professional security advice. Ask your local police department about that free assessment and take a walk to the end of your own driveway tonight. It costs nothing, and you will see something you have not noticed in years.